Right, bear with me. Let's move desktop gone. There we go. Oh, I can't see my notes. Thank you. I'm glad you recorded that bit. Can you see me and hear me? Can you see my screen?
Oh, good.
Can, yes.
Fabulous. Good. So, hi everyone. I'm John Cleary, and as Jamie said, I'm a headshot and personal brand photographer. Who am I to be talking to you about how to look good on Zoom? Well, hopefully I look good at the moment. If I don't, then you can basically log off for 10 minutes and come back once I'm done. I'm a people photographer, and many of the principles of photography apply to Zoom too. So I thought it might be quite helpful for people to kind of learn a bit about kind of photography, but also Zoom. So what I'm going to talk about now, you can use for all your circle meetings, but you can also use these principles when you're taking selfies and things like that. So why is making good visual impression so important? Well, we are visual creatures. You know, we've been able to see since we crawled out from under a rock or wherever we came from. But relatively speaking, we've only been reading for a few hundred years. So our brains are very much geared to pictures, which is why visuals are so important. And whether we think we do or not, whether we like the fact that we do or not, we do all make instant judgments about things and people all the time. And then we look for evidence to back them up. So if we look professional, people will assume we're professional. The alternative is that we don't, and we have to disprove the assumption, which is much more difficult to do. So making a good start is the best way to go, really. So how do you look good on Zoom? Well, there's a balance, and I have to say it took me quite a while to find this balance. There's two key factors on it. One is light, and the other is the background. And the balance that you find will be independent to wherever you are. Jamie knows that I was going to do this as a live demo. I was actually going to start off from nightmare scenario and work up to what you see now. But when I started the rehearsals, I realized there were far too many opportunities to make it memorable for the wrong reasons. So you're going to see quite a few hurried screenshots in this presentation. This isn't, and I really want to emphasize this, this is not an example of my photography skills, okay? Light is important, and it's not just having it, it's where it is. Now, the one on the left, I'm sure you'll be familiar with. How often have we been on a Zoom with somebody and we're talking to a silhouette? I took this morning in the kitchen, and the light in the winter is much lower level than the summer. If I'd done that in the summer, literally it would have been a black outline. So, you know, as in panto season, the light, it's behind you. Don't have the light behind you, or try not to have the light behind you. The other thing is that if the light's coming in from the side of you, you'll see on the picture on the right, you're getting half of your face lit up. What you want to aim for really is light to be directly in front of you. So where's my next slide gone? There we go. So ideally, what you want to do is get in front of a window. It's the cheapest light that you can possibly get. It's fairly reliable, bit less reliable in the winter. This photo is taken up is actually where I'm standing now, but without any lights. It's literally just a window. I didn't even take time to put my non-reflective glasses on, so you can see the window in my glasses. But as I say, that in front of a window is the best you can do. Now, the thing is, not everybody can Zoom in front of a window. If you can't, then best thing to do is get a light. One of the questions that I get a lot is, are ring lights any good? Ring lights are specifically, I'm going to try not to get too technical. Ring lights are only good if the camera is within the ring. The idea of a ring light is that the ring is all around the camera, so you don't get any shadows on your faces. So there's no point having a ring light to the side or above your camera, because you might as well just have a normal light. If you're looking for the low cost option, the best thing to do is get a pile of books or a table lamp or a standard lamp and put it behind your computer so that you've got light falling directly onto your face. So that's lighting. Brings us nicely onto the background. Now, ideally, when you do have a background, try not to have something sticking out of your head, like a lampshade, for instance, because it's, you know, it can have hilarious consequences. Also, you need to be careful what is in the background. I'm sure you will remember the young lady who was on BBC News, I think it was last year or the year before, who had some intimate bedroom toys on a shelf in the background. You don't really want to be that person. But background ideally wants to be neutral or say something about what you do. When you move to natural light and you're in front of a window, quite often it makes the background worse. So Zoom has an option. If you go into preferences or settings, probably on Windows, on Zoom, you can blur your background, or quite often you can kind of create a virtual background. Sometimes older computers can't do that for you, and then they're just not able to do it because they're not powerful enough. You can get like a little green screen that will clip to the back of your chair, which will enable it to work. They're not horrendously expensive, and I've got a download that's got details of those things if you're interested in anything like that. The next thing, once you've got your foreground and your background, is get the camera as close as possible to being level with your eyes, as if it's right in front of you. So whether you're stood up or sat down, have the camera kind of close to level with your eyes as possible. In this photo here, you can see this happens a lot with people who are sat at desks, and they're kind of sat over the camera, and it kind of makes you look like you're towering over people or dominating them, and it's a subtle but important kind of body language signal that you don't really want to give off if you can help it. So try and elevate the camera to eye level. I've got a standing desk because I'm quite tall. I still need to angle my laptop. You can get little fold away portable stands for about 20 quid that kind of lift the bottom of your laptop up, so it brings the camera up and gets that level, eye level. Failing that, a stack of books that your laptop can safely sit under is a good cheap alternative. Again, I've got a link to the portable stand in the checklist. Head position as well is relative to the camera, also can affect how you're perceived. This is an interesting one. It's not so valid on Zoom, but certainly on selfies. People's head position, especially, so if the camera's up high and you kind of it looks like you're looking down, you can look a little bit subservient. If your head's up too high and you kind of look down, you look like you're looking down your nose at people, you can appear a bit snooty. So again, having your head kind of level with the camera and spot on, and will help people to kind of well, see the way that they want to see you. Next slide. Where's the slide to stop working? Okay, and finally, my killer tip. And actually there's two killer tips here. Jamie knows this already. So when you want to land an important point on Zoom, there's this weird thing with Zoom is that you can't, because if we were all sat in a room together, we'd be able to make eye contact with each other, and we can't really do that on Zoom. I can either look at the people on the screen or I can look into the camera. So just as an example now, if I'm looking at if I'm talking to somebody now on the bottom left of my screen, that's what I look like. If I'm talking to somebody on the bottom right of my screen, I look like that. Top right, top left. Thing is, if I look straight into the camera, you now feel like I'm properly talking to you. So if you want to land a point really well and feel like people are connected to that point, always try and look into the camera. It's really hard to do it all the time because you can't get a measure of the audience when you're doing that. But it's a great way to look attentive. And the second one, which is a kind of a freebie, and I'm conscious of time, we all want to look attentive on a Zoom call. Did you know that you can drag people's images around? So when you're listening to somebody, if you drag them up closest to the camera, that works really well. So you don't look like you're looking down there all the time and not listening. And that is it. There is a free checklist which has got all of those tips. If you can take a picture of that, or I'll put a link in the chat. But hopefully that's been helpful for you all. There you go.